Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can build a food delivery app in Android using the Java. For that, I already built a JSON file, which I'm going to keep it in the raw folder. So it have the restaurant information like name, address, delivery charges, their image, their hours, and the menu type of options. What kind of the menu and their images. So I already built that JSON with few restaurants names, as you can see on the screen. So we are going to use this JSON. So let's begin with adding the dependencies in our project. So first I'm going to use glide. This is for the image. So we already have the URLs. We just need to make it API call and get the second is a json library that is going to just parse our JSON file into the objects. So these two dependencies you are going to use in it. I'm creating a separate activity for the splash screen. So as you know, all the project have the splash screen. So I'm creating a splash screen first. So this splash screen is just going to keep an image view and will stay on the screen for just 2 seconds, and then it will launch or it will take us to the main activity. For that we need an image, so I'm downloading it from the flat icon. I'm choosing one image for my splash. So this is how image is downloaded. Now we need to import that. So that's the SVG file. So that's what the reason I'm importing it this way. And here we are going to use it. Inside our main activity, we are going to use the handler with the pause delayed function for the 2 seconds. Before that, we need to set our navigation bar to the full screen so that it doesn't show any title on the top of the screen. So I'm hiding simple over navigation bar. And once 2 second delay will be done, then it will send us to the main activity. And we'll close the splash. In our main activity, we need to set a title to our navigation. So I'm setting restaurant list. Now I'm creating a separate function for getting our JSON file and convert it into the list. So this is the model. I'm creating a separate package for all the data model, and inside this model package I'm creating a class, the restaurant model. So this is basically our the model class which is going to hold the object. And this is the way we read JSON file or any file from our raw folder. Now we are going to use JSON just to simply get our JSON into the object. Since our JSON have the restaurant type of object or the list or the array list, so that is the reason it is going to return the array list of restaurant model. And now I'm simply converting that array of restaurant model into the list of restaurant model type. So we are going to show our restaurant list on a recycler view. So let's go to our layout file and add one recycler view. As we know, we need to set the layout manager to our recycler view. So I'm setting linear layout manager, and we need to set an adapter as well. So we don't have adapter yet, so we need to create it. So first create a separate package where we are going to keep our adapters. Since in this project we are going to have multiple adapters, so I'm keeping them in the separate package. So now I'm giving it as a name restaurant list adapter. You can choose any name. Since we have the static data, so we can simply take it inside the constructor, but I'm still creating a separate function if we need to update the data from the outside. Now we need to inflate one layout. So now create a layout for our recycler view. I want to use the constraint layout, so I'm just simply adding a constraint layout inside it. And also we are going to use the card view. I think the corner radius 10 dp is fine, and the margin from right left bottom is 20 dp. Inside this we need first of all the image for the restaurant, so I'm giving it as a height width as a 120 dp. Inside the linear layout I'm adding some textures for, maybe we'll use it for the display the name, hours, and the address. So I'm putting few textures. Now we'll pass the layout file inside our adapter. And we will initialize all these views. Since we haven't declared any variables inside our restaurant model, so let's check what we have in our JSON file and create a same as in our restaurant model. Since we are using JSON library, so make sure to give the same name what you define inside the JSON file. So delivery charge could be any value, it could be in the decimal as well. So that's what the reason I'm keeping it as a float. We have hours, so it is a separate object, and for the menu it's an again array. So let me create another data class or the model class for hours. So it already have that object as a and the variable name as Sunday, so I'm declaring it as with the same name. Now I need to create the setter getter for it, so we can directly create it. And here I am creating a separate function which basically is going to return the hours for the day from the current day. So it is going to check what day exactly is set in your phone. So if you have Sunday, then it will return the hours for Sunday. If it is Monday, then it will return in the hours of Monday. It should be simple date format. So here we will define hours. Now we need a menus. So we'll create a separate data class for menus, and this is the simple class. It is holding the three parameter name, price, and URL. So we'll define it. Since price could be in the decimal, so I'm using float, and the URL again as a string. So I'm implementing parsable this class because we need to pass some data from one activity to another activity. So I want to pass the whole object. That's the reason I'm implementing it as a parsable. So it's very easy if you want to implement any model class into the parsable. So it's like auto-generated. Since it is the array of menus, so I'm declaring it as a list of menus, menu, the class name, and the name is menus as we defined it in the JSON file. Now this class also we are going to implement as a parsable. And now we'll generate the setter getter. So our model classes are ready. Now we'll use them in the bind view order. So still we are implementing our restaurant list adapter. So here I'm using what function we have created inside our arts class. And now we are going to use the glide. So we have already restaurant URL inside our JSON file. So that URL going to get the image using the glide and set it on the image view. Now on the restaurant click, we need to handle that. So I'm defining an interface to handle the restaurant click. So when user will click on any restaurant name, then we'll see the menu, and then they can add some item in the cart, and then they can place an order. So for that we need to handle the click of restaurant. Now we'll use this adapter in our main activity, and we will implement the onClick function or the interface. There you go. So that adapter need a restaurant list. So we are passing inside the constructor and the interface click listener. So let's run and see. So splash is there. I see it's not displaying the name, instead it is printing the URL. So maybe we made some mistake in our adapter. There it is. So we need to use the get name instead of get image. Let's run it again and see. You can see the splash and the restaurant list image is also able to download successfully. That's great. So first screen restaurant list is ready. There you go. You can see the hours, you can see the address, you can see the name and image as well. Now on click of restaurant name, we need to open another activity. So I'm giving it as a name restaurant menu activity. So this activity we are going to open when user tap on and restaurant name. So this function is going to call when user will tap on the RecyclerView item, when we are going to launch restaurant menu activity. Inside this we are going to pass our restaurant model so that we can just display the data or some restaurant information like name and address on the screen. Now let's complete our layout by adding some views. So first of all, I'm adding a recycler view. And I'm adding a button on the bottom of the screen that is going to call checkout. I need a background for the button like round corners and all. So I'm creating a shape. And I'm giving the corner radius. That's it. And now I'll set this background to my checkout button. Now we'll extracting the value of the object restaurant model which we passed from the previous screen. So now I'm converting it into the real object. And I'm setting the restaurant name and address on my action bar. setting the subtitle as a address. And we need the back button also in our action bar. So I am enabling it by setting the display home as up enabled true. On this screen, we just need to display the menus. So I am retrieving menus list from the restaurant model object. And creating a separate function for initialize our view model or recycler view. I am keeping the menu list in the global variable so that we can access throughout this activity. And this layout manager is going to be the grid layout manager. I want two items to display parallelly. And now we need the adapter. Also, we need to handle the button click. So let's handle the button click first. For adapter, we'll be simply copying the existing adapter as we already created, and then we'll just make some modification in it. I'm giving it a name menu list adapter, and we'll simply modify this. The data is going to be the menu type object. Also the separate listener for item click. Now I'm setting the adapter to our recycler view. And we need to handle the click listener of menu items. There you go. Now go back to our adapter and create a layout. So I'm again copying the same recycler row and we'll make some modification in this recycler row for to display our menu. So we don't need image on a side, we need image on a top and then on the menu. We'll make it a little bit small. we need to rename it to the menu name, like the item name. And the item, or we can say menu price. And we need a button which is going to call add to cart button. We'll use the same background as we created. We'll add some item later on the layout, like quantity, adding the quantity. So first let's made relevant changes to our menu adapter. And add to cart button, we just need to handle its click. On button click, we'll call uh, our listener. So I'm changing a name on add to cart click listener. Let's call it. This change we need to make in our activity as well. And I'm putting $sign in front of price. And we'll use the layout what we created for our menus. Let's run and see how it look like. If you find any small issue, then we'll okay. So button is on place, image is on place, name and price is on place. We just need to make little bit modification in our button. So let's make them. So it need to be have some padding, and text was left aligned, so we need to set it gravity to center horizontally, and I'm increasing a little bit margin as well. Let's run and see. There you go. So it looked pretty good. So just to add a quantity, I am adding a plus and minus symbol and the quantity on a text view. So for that, I'm adding another linear layout that is going to be the another layout. When user click on a add to cart button, that add to cart button will hide and it will show a view where you can add quantity or increase or decrease your quantity. For that, I'm adding two image view and one text view. So from this layout, user can add or reduce the quantity. For that, we need some icons. So let's get some icons. I'm getting this plus icon and we'll import it. I need another icon. Yeah, we'll use this minus for reducing the quantity. Similarly, we'll import it. We need one text view to update the quantity what user have selected or added, reduce. So now we'll handle on button click and this plus minus image use click. So based on these buttons our cart will get prepared. So let's check it. So when add to cart button will click, we'll simply make the visibility of our more layout and add to cart button will be gone. Here we need to declare one more item of any type like how many items in the cart. So I'm giving it as name the total in cart. So when user will click on add to cart, so quantity will change to 1. So item will be added in the cart as 1 and we'll update the text view with number 1 or we'll read it from the menu.get total in cart. Let's run and see. Restaurant, okay, you can see now, but plus minus button we need to handle still. So let's go and add a little bit padding in it. And now we'll simply handle over plus minus buttons click. So based on that, quantity in the card will adjust. Now we need to have one method in our interface which is going to handle the quantity inside the cart. We need a one function which is going to like remove item from the cart. As soon as user will hit minus when quantity is 1, we need to show the add to cart button, and we'll remove that item from our cart and we'll hide our add more layout. And now on the plus button click, we need to update the quantity. But user can add up to 10 items only, so I'm changing this condition as well. So user cannot add more than 10 items. You can adjust it according to you, but currently I am keeping as the 10 max for one item. So one item quantity can be 10 as max. Now we need to override those two functions which we added in our interface. There you go. So for cart, I'm creating a separate list so that we can just add whatever item or the object is added inside the cart. So we can simply handle from this separate list. We don't need to modify the existing list. That is just to display for first time. But we need a lot of calculation on this list. This total item in cart integer type will tell us like I'll help in calculating how many items we have in our cart, and we'll display that number on the button that is called checkout button. So we'll declare this button as the global variable so that we can access it easily. And here we will set the text as checkout and the quantity of our total items in cart. For on update, we'll simply update the list by updating the quantity. So we don't need to add that object again and again in the same list. We can simply update it by checking the contains function. We'll get the index of our object, and based on that index we'll update that particular menu items quantity inside our list. And now this block of code will remain same, as it's going to iterate the whole list and get the total number of item and update the button text. In case of remove, when there is no items in the cart, when user is tapping minus button, so at that time we'll simply remove that item from our menu and update our UI. And we forgot to handle the back button on our top left corner of the screen, so let's handle that back arrow as well. We'll simply close the activity. And on click of checkout button, we need to open another activity to review your cart, and then user can place their order. So before that we need to check if there are certain items in the cart or not. If there are nothing in the cart, then we will simply show a message to the user. So this is the basic validation. That's it. And when there are some certain items in the cart, then we will launch a new activity. Before that, we need to update the menus in our main restaurant model, and we'll simply pass this restaurant model to the new screen, new activity. Why I'm using start activity for results, so that user do not come back to this screen after placing the ad. They can directly reach out to the home screen where we display the restaurant list. Now I'm creating another activity which is going to call place your order activity. On this screen, user can review their cart, make the payment, enter their address, or they can choose they want delivery or the pickup. So since I have called on activity with result, so we need to override on activity result as well. And here we will check the request code. What request code we passed above, we're going to check the same. The 1000 I put there, I'm using, and then the result code is equal to result OK. Activity dot result OK. If that's the one, then we'll simply close this activity and user can land on the main activity or the restaurant list. Else, if user is simply pressing the back button, then they can come here and make the modification in their menu. We need the same block of code in our place your order activity. Here we'll build our layout. So I'm adding a scroll view on top. It needs some scrolling as it's going to display the so many items. It is going to ask user to input their details. So I'm adding a scroll view. So this is just the layout. I'm adding few text views, edit text, and a recycler view, and a button. This switch is going to choose between the delivery and the pickup. Here user can input their name, address, the full address. If they opt for the delivery, then we need to ask user to enter their address. If they pick for the pickup, then we don't need the address. So in that case, we just need user to input their name. So this is about the customer details. Now we need the card details so user can make the payment by entering their credit card or any mechanism. So in this video, you are just going to see how user is entering credit card details or anything. It's not actually going to make the API call. It's just to show the demo. That's it. And here we need to display the items what user added in their cart, and under this we need to add a recycler view so that user can see what items they have added and what the quantity they have choose to order. So this is kind of reviewing the order one more time before placing it actually to the owner. And on the bottom I'm adding some subtotal, total, and the delivery charge, and how much actually user need to pay to the restaurant owner. And that will be calculated based on the cart items you have selected on the previous screen. So delivery charge will only be displayed when user has selected delivery from the switch. If it is selected as a pickup, then there will not be any delivery charge. I'm not going to add anything for the taxes and all because that's all based on the country or the state, so I'm not going to add that. I'll simply adding the subtotal and the total for a timing. And on the bottom we need a button as well that is going to call place your order. So layout is ready, and let's go to our activity and handle it. So first thing we need to get over all the added text and text views where we need to display the total, subtotal, delivery charge. So let's get all these. Now we'll handle the button clicks. On the button click, will simply display another screen later, and that is going to show successfully place your order. That's it. This is again the same thing for our recycler view to set the layout manager and adapter. Here we'll handle the switch click. So when switch is set to the delivery, then we need to display address, city, state, or zip. And total delivery charge don't need to display. We need to grab the amount as well, delivery amount. So we need to hide that as well. Oh, sorry, make it visible as well. But when users select to pick up, at that time we don't need to display address, city, state, zip, and delivery charge. And based on the selection of delivery or pickup, our total price will be changed. So let's calculate that as well. I'm putting some validations. So these validations are like if user has entered name or not. So just checking like if it is empty or not. And you can ask user to enter. But address is gonna be the exceptional because we need to check the state of switch. For that we can have one boolean. If there is only delivery selected, then only we are going to check the emptiness of address, zip, and city state. And once all the information is filled, at that time we'll start a new activity just to show the user a message like your order has successfully submitted to the restaurant. And here also we need to override on activity result, and we'll check the request code. So once user has successfully placed an order and he can go back to the restaurant list, so we don't want to see this activity again. Similarly, we need to handle the back arrow so that user can go back and adjust their menu. So we'll simply copy paste that block of code. Now we need to create a new activity. As I said, it is going to show the message to the user. So I'm giving it as order success activity. In the calculate total amount, we need to simply iterate over menu items in the cart. Here we'll calculate the total amount, subtotal, total based on the item we have in our cart and how many quantity we have in our cart. So we'll calculate everything here. String.format I'm using just to format the amount up to the 2 decimal places. So this is the amount get delivery charge we have defined in our JSON file. So from where it's reading it. Now here need another adapter. So let's copy and paste the manualist adapter, and I'm giving it as a separate name. We don't need to handle the click of it, so I'm simply removing it. User can, this is just to review, so user don't need to perform any action over it. We don't need to add any buttons over here. I'm removing all these, and we'll set this place your order adapter to our recycler view. And we'll modify this layout as well and use it. So here we don't need this button, we don't need this plus minus layout, we need the price, and we need to display the quantity. So we'll add that quantity. And we don't need this card layout as well. Let's remove it. We can make it as much as simple. And now we'll adjust our view adapter as well. So we don't need everything. So I'm removing. We just need quantity as the new parameter. So it will show the price based on the quantity you have added. Also the quantity, what is selected on the menu screen. non-success activity will simply display the restaurant name and the address. We don't need a back button here, so let's make it false. Let's build this layout. So I'm just going to add a text view in the center of the screen. And a button on the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to copy and paste it as we already have that. So I'm giving it as a name done. That's it, and I'm renaming it ID. That's it for this screen. And now we'll handle the click of that button. And that will simply close this activity we'll call finish function. Now let's run and see. So we can see the restaurant list. We can see add. There you go. Okay. There is some issue with the quantity. It's not updating properly on the button. Okay. But let's see further. The back button is working. Delivery pickup. So name is there. I selected delivery. It changed it to the address and all. And it's calculating. And the image is a little bit up. Need to adjust a little bit. So it's center horizontal. Instead we need center vertical. And validations are working fine. Card number input. Place your border. Okay. And it's taking me back to the restaurant list. So everything looks good to me, except some minor change. So need to check why the quantity in the card is not updating on the button. So layout looks good, adapter look good. Add to cart, this function. There it is. I think something is missing. So we are not using this. Okay, so for loop we are doing, but we are actually not using it. There you go. That's the reason it was not updating it properly. Run it, select a restaurant, add quantity. Yeah, there you go. So it's working fine now. Let's add it, few items, and then checkout button. There you go. Quantity, and the price is also getting updated. Subtotal. Is still subtotal. Delivery charge is not updating. Something is still missing. Let's see. Inside work, place your order activity. So calculate total amount is not called on the on crate. Thus it is also called from the switch only. So that's the reason it was not updating it. Let me add it again. Check out. There you go. Since it was pickup, so delivery charge was just 0. Now I change it to delivery, so everything is updated. Now it is asking to input some details. Items, place your order. That's it. So that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.